Hi, thanks for watching. This is the first technical demo of Spriggan, a free and open source, peer-to-peer PC game publishing and distribution network. There is still a lot of development and testing to be done before a beta can be released, but basically, our goal is to flip the PC gaming market on its head by allowing game developers and publishers to sell their games directly without going through platforms like Steam or Epic Games Store. And also, without paying a percentage to any platform or payment processor. The peer-to-peer design of this system means that there is very little us, or anyone could do to ban anyone, or any type of content from using the core of the system, which is incredibly important for freedom of expression. Spriggan is built on two technologies, BitTorrent, and the Chia blockchain. Both of which happen to be invented by the same person, Bram Cohen, the world's leading expert on peer-to-peer technologies. Chia is a new, extremely powerful, and relatively environmentally friendly blockchain that is great for practical use cases like this, that go beyond the standard crypto nonsense. I am not going to go deep into detail, but I highly recommend looking deeper into it, and I will include some good links in the description. So let's see how this works. This is still very early, but I'm going to show a demo of how you could publish a game with Spriggan. Here we have the Spriggan client, freshly installed, and our Chia wallet running on testnet. You will need a very small amount of XCH to get started. Just a fraction of a penny's worth would be plenty. There is nothing that you have to buy or invest in for this to work. If we go into settings, we can see that it's already connected to the wallet, and we can select which fingerprint we want to use. We will need to make a DID, or distributed identity, in order to publish, but while we are here, let's enable the publishing section. We have to restart Spriggan, so we will close it for now, and we will make our DID. Just go Settings, Profiles, and Add. It will cost 1 mojo, or 1/1,000,000,000 of an XCH, and I'll add a fee to make sure it goes through right away. We will name it Spriggan DID. If we open Spriggan, we can now set our DID in the settings. We also have these two new tabs, Publishing and Minting. The Publishing tab is where we are going to enter all of the details about our game, and in the Minting tab, we will mint the actual copies of the game to the blockchain. I am also going to add an option for free-to-play games, so if your game is free, you can still publish it with Spriggan in the same way and have it show up in marketplaces, and not even have to worry about the whole minting, blockchain side of things. Let's create a data store, then let's go back to our wallet. You see there is 2 transactions for 1 mojo. The first was our DID, and the second is the data store that we just created. That data store is on Chia's data layer, which is basically a distributed database that allows you to create a data store locally that only you can update, which will be synced between you, marketplaces, and everyone who owns your game. The data is hashed and verified by the blockchain so that marketplaces and users can verify that it is authentic. This is how all information about your game will be stored and distributed every time you update your game without relying on a centralized service. So let's make our game. Our game is Pong. Developer, me. Publisher, Spriggan. Put your game files in the install folder as if it's already installed. This is just a simple HTML game, but it should work with any game engine. Put the name of your executable here. For me it's pong.html. We can update this data as much as we want, so we don't have to fill everything out all at once. You could even mark your game as coming soon, and do pre-sales. And we are good to go. Okay, so 2 things just happened. First, it was very fast, because our game is so small, but our game files were packaged into an encrypted zip file and a torrent file was generated for it. Spriggan has an integrated BitTorrent client, so we are actually already seeding our game. Anyone with that torrent file we just created can start downloading it from us directly. But it's encrypted, so without the password, they can't install it. Second, the game info we entered, along with the torrent file and password, were committed to our data store. This is technically public, so it is possible for someone who knows what they are doing to get our game for free, which isn't perfect, but eventually we want to release plugins for common game engines that verify you own the game before letting you play. That is part 1 done. Next, let's mint some copies of our game. Now, as I was saying, for free games, this won't be necessary, but we are going to be minting our games using Chia's NFT1 standard, with a bit of extra data for our use case. This is not the only way. Because of Chia's programmability, almost anything is possible, but using the NFT1 standard is the easiest and most straightforward approach that works perfectly fine for now. I'm just going to fill this out with URLs I prepared beforehand. NFTs cannot be updated in the same way as the data store. Once they are minted, they are effectively immutable. This means you should use something like IPFS or Arweave to store the images and metadata so that your URLs are as permanent as possible. So now let's talk about royalties. Because these games are NFTs, they are resellable. This has pros and cons. Chia has royalties enforced on chain, which is great. Here, we can set what percentage we want to collect on every resale. This could make for a great second-hand games market where people could sell their old games to recoup some of the cost, or give them to their friends. But not every developer is going to want that, and there are limits to how on-chain royalties can be enforced. There will always be ways to get around paying royalties by using a trusted third party, which sucks. There will, however, be ways to limit or eliminate resale in the future by making games non-transferable. That is just something that is not part of the NFT 1 standard and has yet to be developed. For this demo, let's mint 10 copies and sell them for 1 XCH each. You can mint up to 25 copies per block, which is about every 1 to 2 minutes. So if you want to mint many thousands of copies, it will take hours or even days. That is something to keep in mind. There will likely be solutions to this in the next few years, but it is unlikely anyone will be moving enough copies for that to become a serious problem anytime soon. So, anyways, let's mint our games. This will take about a minute. When it is done, we will have 10 copies of our game appear in our wallet, and offer files will be generated for each of them so that we can sell them. Offer files are a revolutionary new technology created by Chia that allows for direct peer-to-peer trading in a way that no other blockchain can. There is a link to learn more about them in the description. They are the fundamental building block for truly decentralized markets. The minting has finished, so let's see what we have. In the Games tab, if we refresh, we can see that we now have 10 copies of our game. We are seeding, and if we press play, we are playing Pong. Now that we have our copies, how do we sell them? Because they are NFTs, any existing exchanges and marketplaces will work, but our games are not regular NFTs. To display all of our game data, and to have it sync and update, a lot of work will need to be done to create an open source marketplace framework so that anyone can open their own decentralized games marketplace. We at Spriggan will of course have our own flagship market, but having a wide variety of different marketplaces that are all compatible is the point of Spriggan. One of the biggest problems with the monopolistic games market we have right now is that it is run by money. Because Steam profits 30% of every sale, and run the store that they are sold on, they are incentivized to promote and sell as much of the most successful games as possible to maximize their profits. With Spriggan, marketplaces won't actually profit directly from sales, so the motivations are fundamentally different. Whether it's large developers wanting to host their own store for their own games, or community-run marketplaces focused on a specific genre or style of game, their incentive is just to give good service to the users of their site. There is no one entity or algorithm controlling what games get attention and which don't. Something I think is incredibly important in the fight for artistic freedom. This is not a profitable project, and it won't be for a long time. If you are positioned to support Spriggan, my Patreon is linked in the description. And if you work for a game developer or publisher who finds this interesting, who may be willing to sponsor its development or contribute to it, please reach out. Your help would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and follow me on Twitter for updates.